The word Calvinism has fallen upon hard times. What is Calvinism? Is it a damnable heresy that destroys churches by killing evangelism and missions? Or is Charles Spurgeon, the Prince of Preachers, right about Calvinism when he said,
"There is no such thing as preaching Christ and Him crucified, unless we preach what nowadays is called Calvinism. It is a nickname to call it Calvinism. Calvinism is the gospel, and nothing else."
Calvinism is a hot topic in Southern Baptist circles nowadays. There are many within the SBC who believe that Calvinism is a damnable heresy, and there are many who are in agreement with Spurgeon's assessment of Calvinism. Hi, I'm Jim Duncan, pastor of Second Baptist Church in Mount Vernon, Illinois. I want to introduce you to a conference that I believe will set the record straight about what Calvinism is and what Calvinism is not.
That doctrine which is called Calvinism did not spring from Calvin. We believe that it sprang from the great founder of all truth, from Jesus Christ, the great founder of the Christian dispensation.
On November the 21st and 22nd, 2014, Second Baptist Church is hosting the Exposition of Calvinism Conference. We got the idea for the conference from Spurgeon in April of 1861 as part of the dedication ceremonies for the Metropolitan Tabernacle. Spurgeon organized a conference entitled the Exposition of Calvinism Conference. He invited 5 of his preaching friends to preach on the 5 points of Calvinism. The purpose of the conference was to proclaim the gospel of Christ crucified, also known as Calvinism. It would be the gospel of the Metropolitan Tabernacle. Just as Spurgeon saw a need to declare what biblical Calvinism is and isn't, we too see a need to do the same in our region, and in a broader sense, in our convention. Some may ask, why bother with Calvinism? Southern Baptists are not Calvinists. I beg to differ. The SBC cut its teeth on Calvinism. It is the rock from which we read. In 1845, 220 delegates, represented over 350,000 Baptists in the South, met at the First Baptist Church in Augusta, Georgia. After 2 days of deliberations, the Southern Baptist Convention was established. An important fact about this meeting is that without exception, each of the 220 delegates represented a church that held to a Calvinistic confession of faith. I think it's time we get back to our Southern Baptist roots. The Exposition of Calvinism Conference 2014 will meet to set the record straight about what is Calvinism and why it needs to be embraced as the best summary of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
If anyone should ask me what I mean by a Calvinist, I should reply, "He is one who says salvation is of the Lord." I cannot find in Scripture any other doctrine than this. It is the essence of the Bible.
We've asked 2 of the finest Southern Baptist preachers to preach at this conference, Dr. Herschel York and Dr. Jim Ork. Dr. York is the professor of Christian preaching at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky, and Dr. Ork is right across the campus at Boyce College, where he serves as professor of literature and culture. Dr. Ork will preach on total depravity, limited atonement, and perseverance of the saints, while Dr. York will preach on unconditional election, irresistible grace, and a sermon entitled Calvinism, So What? In that sermon, Dr. York will illustrate for us how Calvinism drives the way we live from day to day, and it drives the way that we preach and evangelize and worship and engage in mission. I'm inviting pastors and lay people, Calvinists and non-Calvinists, to come to the conference. You will enjoy God-centered, Christ-exalting congregational singing and Spirit-anointed preaching. Now, the conference is free, and pastors will receive a free copy of this book, The 5 Points of Calvinism, defined, defended, and documented. And we'll even feed all the conference attendees a free lunch on Saturday. Do us a favor and register for the conference, and Lord willing, I'll see you on November 21st.